So you heard from Coach Candle as we welcome in Mike Robinson from the Toledo Rocket Radio Network. Mike Rob, certainly a good time for the Rockets to have a week off, both mentally and physically, after losing to Western Kentucky.
Yeah, you're right, Mark. It's definitely a great time for the Rockets to take a little week off before they get into a nice, heavy dose of MAC play coming up here soon. But the Rockets got beat up a little bit over the past 3 weeks, and last week, the depth start to show where they need to get guys back. So this is definitely the right time for them to stay back home.
And I think that really was apparent on the offensive line against Western Kentucky.
Yeah, you got Gale stepping up, and he's a young guy getting his first start at left tackle. That's one of the hardest positions to play. And after the rain delay, you could kind of see the, Western Kentucky start to expose some of the weaknesses in the offensive line, get the advantage of, just of a young team. And you can see that's where offense for Toledo and Jason Candle needs to just continue to get better at. But they do have talent. They got depth, but they're getting young guys in early. So all it tells you is it's a really bright future, but they got some growing pains to go through.
This week, Bowling Green's tight end was named the MAC Offensive Player of the Week. But you know what? The Rockets have got a pretty good tight end, Anthony Torres, as well. He had a good game against Western Kentucky.
You know what? Torres has become one of my favorite players just in general on the team. I just like his ability to block, and he gets out there, he block, and he'll go out there and catch the ball. Got really good sure hands, and he's really a good NFL prospect. I think he's going to continue to get better and better. But one thing that they got to continue to do is find ways to get the balls to their weapons. He got 3 targets, 3 catches. Actually got a few targets late underneath, and it turned into interceptions. But when Torres has the football in his hand, this team just moves a little bit different.
You mentioned the interceptions. How can Tucker Gleason move on from those?
You know what? I think you just wash it away and you just look forward to what the next play is. And that's just any kind of a quarterback mentality you want to have. Veltkamp had the same thing down there in Kentucky. He had some bad struggles, but he came back with an explosive fourth quarter. And that's the same thing that we got to just see from our offensive line. Just a little bit more protection. Early in the game, Toledo went 12 personnel and had some good running and good attacks because actually Jason Candle committed to the run early in that football game and had a lot of success. Kind of got away from it a little bit, and running backs just didn't get the yardage that they wanted. So it's kind of back to the drawing board, but offensively, I don't think you change much. Tucker just got to understand, it's hard out here. You just got to take it one play at a time.
I think the frustrating part when you look back at this game was the fact that first half Toledo dominated. They were in control, and then that weather delay hit, and it was almost as if after that weather delay, it was a whole different game.
It absolutely was. Just sitting in the press box and just watching the stadium and everything just kind of unfold right in front of your eyes, and then seeing the team come out, I felt real confident about the Rockets coming out the locker room. Energy was really high. I felt the defense was ready, but again, you wonder, that hour and a half off. Did Western Kentucky have just an extra time to scout and look at those Microsoft surfaces to kind of see, hey, this is what we can exploit? And I think that's kind of what happened. I think the game plan for Toledo was right. I think Western Kentucky just made some really good adjustments, and defensively, Toledo was kind of thin on the backside, so they couldn't really get things done in the secondary like they wanted to. They played a lot of snaps.
As we mentioned, this is a good time for the Rockets to have a week off, but how do you balance that without being rusty when you come out to open up MAC play in a little over a week and a half?
I think it's a week off of a football game. I don't know that it's going to be a real week off on the schedule for these guys.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's going to be a grueling week, getting guys back. Coach Brad Bechet is going to really focus on getting these guys' bodies back to the shape that it needs to be, getting these guys who are injured and dinged up back on the field because they're definitely needed, and especially in the secondary. The secondary is really good. Got some guys that's just kind of dinged up. You need them back this week, but I can only imagine that this is going to be one of the hardest weeks they've probably had.
If I would have told you 3 months ago Toledo Rockets were 3-1 entering into MAC play, your reaction would have been?
I would have thought they were 4-0. Because because this was a game that I think was very winnable. Just like you said, just the depth and unfortunate injuries and missing guys in certain spots and also just the turnovers. And if we want to be honest, it's the penalties. You're starting to see that kind of come back, but I think that's with the youth of the offense and the offensive line cleaning some of those things up. And I don't want to put all the pressure on them guys because they're doing a good job. Everybody has to step up, and that's coaches and players included.
So the Rockets will have the week off to step up and get ready for the Mid-American Conference play. We're going to thank our guest, Michael Robinson from the Rocket Radio Network. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, Mark.